Good morning. Welcome to today's episode of Market Check, guys. It is fantastic to be back. Hope you all had a phenomenal holidays. This is our first show since we said goodbye. I think it was like 2 or 3 days before Christmas. So I hope you guys all had a phenomenal Christmas with your friends and family. Let's finish the year strong, right? Because we have had quite a bit happen even since we were last on air. So I definitely want to get to all that later in this show, guys. But I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Tucker and Max. Welcome, guys. I hope you as well had great holidays. Real quickly, before we start cooking, before we start sharing that alpha, we always appreciate when you guys smash that like button before we get started. And it's the first show back. I'm sure that we're gonna bug you again. I'm sure that maybe some of you are still a little drunk on some eggnog, but we are gonna continue to bug you nonetheless. Welcome back, and it always means a lot to us when you guys like and engage with our content. But welcome, guys. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about regarding markets. I mean, even since we were last on air, Bitcoin, not as much, right? More or less been ranging as we kind of wait for this ETF decision. It's a pretty big range, though, which has allowed for a lot of volatility and opportunity in altcoins. I mean, the range is like 40K to 44K, a 10% range for Bitcoin. So bid alts at the range lows, sell them at the range highs. It's been a pretty good strategy for people who have been following that. And in particular, one alt has really captured the hearts of many. And it was funny because we were having debates about whether or not it would actually, whether the blow off top had already happened, whether the biggest move within the rally had already occurred. And we're talking about Solana, of course. I want to say when we left, it was trading probably in the $80 or $90 range. It blew off to $125 over Christmas time. Congratulations to everybody who caught it. Blew out Mike Alfred short in the process, who tried to take one at like 116. But yeah, I mean, you just don't really, it doesn't really make sense typically to short a vertical green candle. Although I will say I actually did have a short running from like 123. I didn't hold it, so I won't toot my own horn, but yeah, I mean, Solana has provided us with a ton of volatility, both to the upside and the downside. Now that we have pulled back pretty meaningfully from that high, probably about 20-25%. So question is, what are the best assets to trade now? Is it still going to be Solana? Is the Sol ETH correlation, how is that going to manifest itself in Q1 in January? I know we have some strong opinions on that, and it does look like Ethereum is finally beginning to show some strength against the market here as Bitcoin has begun to bleed out a little bit, but Ethereum is looking to chop higher. I think we are probably in the midst of seeing what that Ethereum blow off top looks like, with the assumption that it hasn't happened yet, right? Because we've gotten it in Bitcoin, we've gotten it in the leading alt with Solana that's been heavily correlated to Bitcoin, but we haven't quite had it with Ethereum. I know many on this panel have been advocating for that ETH blow off top for quite some time. I do think we're probably finally getting close to that occurring. What that means within the context of the rally, I definitely want to talk about that with you guys as well. But I think crypto is in a great spot, or a very interesting spot here as we head into the new year. Should be lots of opportunity as far as volatility in Q1 goes, crossing our fingers. Equities, more or less are the same since we left. I will say that, continuing their strength, look incredibly strong. Wouldn't be fading equities yet because we haven't, we were talking about it. Volatility has, sorry, that's my cat. I don't know if you can hear
Tucker, I'm sorry. I have to cut you off. Tommy, I want you to keep going. That's not how you put that fractal there. That you're disrespecting the fractal. That's not.
Max.
No. You're starting it in the wrong. Yeah. There we go. That's where we started. You don't start.
All right.
Okay, sorry, Tommy. I just couldn't. This was blasphemy. I couldn't stand to watch that.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. That's how you fractal.
All right, fair enough.
You're a little rusty. Enough. You had a lot of prime rib. I'll give you a little slack today.
I did, Max. I did.
As the in-house masseuse, I expect more. We can't start a fractal there.
All right. You're right. We fixed it.
Oh, we're going to talk about where ETH is, exactly where we think ETH is, because I've been massaging pretty much the exact same fractal onto it. I mean, equities, we really don't have too much to talk about at the moment, right? I mean, volatility looks bottomed. Equities still want to go higher. Are we finally going to get the situation where we get equities up, volatility up into a blow off top? I mean, because this looks like a blow off top. It absolutely does. You're to a certain extent, you're kind of curious how much more upside we can obtain within this move. And then after that, what that means for markets going forward. But definitely think the S&P is in an interesting spot. I think 4,900 is still on the table. And then I'm more interested to see what the downside on the S&P looks like, right? Is it just the whole market starts to move down, or do you start to see a rotation out of the S&P into individuals? Very exciting stuff, guys. We got a lot to talk about as we come into the new year. But it's been a while since I've asked you guys this question. What are you seeing in the markets?
Oh man, I'm so excited to be back. I've told you guys this before. It's like I enjoy the first couple days off, and then I'm like that. I said this in our Discord this morning. I'm like that Dave Chappelle meme, like Crackhead Larry, where he's like scratching his neck. That's me wanting to get on YouTube and just hang out with the Market Check crew, the team, all you guys in the comments, man. I'm so happy to be back. We could have taken more time off, because we do have New Year's coming up, and it's already Thursday. We could have been like, you know what? Let's just take a couple more days off, roll it through the New Year's. But we had to show up, man. We had to show up. The team was itching. The team was ready to be back. But anyways, beautiful introduction, Tommy. I hope that everybody had a really great Christmas if you guys celebrate. And if not, hopefully at least you spent some time with family. But yeah, man, I've had a great time. I'm here in Florida. And for those of you that have been around because Bitcoin for a while, you know that me and Florida have an interesting relationship. And specifically me, Florida, and the crypto markets have an interesting relationship. And what I mean by that, for those that are new here, is that Florida is my favorite place on earth. It's like, that's my happy place. But more times than not, whenever I go to Florida, the markets seem to dump, and I don't appreciate that. So I'm always, whenever I get on that plane, I always text everyone. I'm like, hey guys, just a heads up, I'm going to Florida. Probably a good time to take some profits. And then we start to dump like on Christmas and then the day after. And I was like, no, the curse is back. I'm in Florida and we're dumping. And then of course I said to myself, this is ridiculous. That's not real, Max. That's not real. That can't be real. So I bought more ETH at 2,200 and 2,170 or something like that. And now we're higher. So, you have to break the curse that you want broken. All right. I don't actually really believe in curses or whatever, but anyways, markets are looking good. I'm in Florida and we haven't dumped, so I am relieved. But look, I think that ETH is about to play a serious game of catch up, guys. Like serious. I would press Tucker on that fractal on the right and say he's not bullish. I think that, hang on, let me cook here. I think that the real test comes in when you get to that CME gap at 26 to 2,700 on ETH. All right. I think that when you get to that CME gap, if you flip that CME gap, you're going to teleport above 3,000 with haste. All right. And you can see what Bitcoin did when it went above its CME gap. I don't know, Tucker, if you have any interest in trying to recreate that, or if you're cooking up something else here, but that's really where my focus is right now. And I do have an ETH fractal for you guys, and I've been following it for weeks. I've been trading it for weeks. And I think that Q1 is going to be extremely bullish for ETH. And I've said this before. You guys have seen my tweets. You guys show up to the shows. So again, it's been like, 5 days or something like that. So I will repeat. All right. So forgive me for the redundancy, but I must say it again as it's starting to happen here. December, we could all say this at once, right? You guys have heard it so many times. December has the highest 180-day ROI for ETH USD and for the ETH BTC valuation. And we're starting to see that front run. I believe what we saw yesterday was front running that January spring upward. Okay. People getting a little bit excited for that rotation. Okay. And there's a lot of money. There's a hot ball of money right now that is moving around, right? From project to project, from ecosystem to ecosystem, chain to chain, whatever. All right. There's a lot of money rolling around right now. And a lot of it stemmed from what just happened with Solana. So I think there's a lot of savvy investors out there that are going, wait, ETH isn't dead. Its price just hasn't pumped yet. So it feels dead. Okay. It's an attention economy, right? So everybody's throwing stupid money at Sol and there's shit coining on Sol, and the transactions are faster. And it's cheap, and it's so nice not to have to spend $500 to exit my meme coin. It's like, you know what?
Well, that's true regardless.
No. Hang on. You're wrong. And here's why. You're wrong. What happened to the good old days when the illiquidity, the expensiveness of gas and transacting on Ethereum was actually spun as a bullish catalyst because nobody could afford to sell? There's nobody selling because gas is too high. Okay, that's bullishness. All right. I miss those days. Where are the manly men that don't care about the price of gas? They just drive Hummers and they get 3 miles per gallon and they don't care. Now we have a bunch of Prius driving, Solana enthusiasts. Real men don't spend money on gas. You know what? Yes, we do. Okay. You're not going to care about spending $500 on an ETH transaction because Pepe is going to go to 20 billion and you'll be happy to pay the gas to get out of it. So listen, I've been screaming for 4 to 6 weeks now. Actually, even longer, really, since like last time I was in Florida. Funny enough, it was like October. ETH is going to play a serious game of catch up here. And ETH is truly the liquidity vacuum play. Everybody thinks that it's Sol right now. It's not. Okay. Sol was the first pair to bottom against ETH and BTC. All right. We were saying that months and months ago that Sol was the first altcoin to bottom. It's also going to be the first one to local top. Okay. And I'm not saying Sol is going to dump, but I think it's going to be pinned. Or I think that Sol is probably going to be pinned and everything is going to sit and watch ETH move. Okay. Anyways, I don't want to monologue for too long. I want this to be more of a discussion. So I'll stop there, but we're going to get back into it. But I'm super bullish ETH and I'm looking for ETH beta. And I also want to talk about Pepe today. I just put out a tweet about Pepe, man. I'm not saying it's likely, but I'm saying there's a chance. And I'm saying that it doesn't hurt to believe in something, especially when you're potentially looking at like a 300 to 400 RR trade if the stars all align perfectly. And again, that's yeah, my man, average dad. Yeah, that's a great comment. But yeah, anyways, guys, I'm very interested in finding ETH beta that's going to run, and also playing some ETH leverage longs. My spot bags have been packed for a while. I've been aggressively twapping in more with trading profits. Our community knows it. Yeah, twapping in.
Wow.
I've been aggressively accumulating ETH with profits from other trades this year. Our community knows all about that, where those orders have been set, how I've been doing it. But yeah, I'm just looking for ETH beta right now. I don't think people fully grasp what's about to happen, because I think that everything, maybe even Bitcoin included, are just going to sit there and watch.
Ooh, look at that, Max.
Who could
finally some life?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this, right? Like we talked about all this. I think there's a chance we could take one more stab at maybe if you zoom in a little bit there, Tucker. Even that's fine. Yeah, zoom in a little bit more. Weigh in for me. Weigh in. See that order block right there before the most recent pump? Yeah, that one right there. I think it's possible we could come back to 0.053, maybe, big maybe. But I think your lows are safe unless – I would say ETF news-driven catalyst aside, if you get some sort of crazy reaction on a Bitcoin spot ETF approval, I could see a scenario where you get a big wick to the downside that's bought up almost immediately. But I don't really know. No one knows for sure what's going to happen right when we get that approval tweet. But I don't know. Time will tell. But I think either way, this is the accumulation range. Whether the lows get pressured again or they're never going to be revisited. I think that this is the accumulation phase of a lifetime for ETH BTC. I mean, it's down 25% on the year. From yearly high to yearly low, it was down 36%. Yeah, and I mean, it's my case that Ethereum over this next cycle outperforms Bitcoin by at least 2x, maybe even 3x with something like Eigenlayer. That's kind of Wabi's theory, which I would largely agree with. I don't fade Wabi on things like that. So if I'm expecting that would mean an ETH BTC valuation of 0.10 or maybe even higher. So I think this is a great spot. Anyways, I've been talking forever. Somebody cut me off already.
Yeah. So what I was cooking over here was just Bitcoin, Sol, and ETH, right? And I really thought that ETH was gonna do the move that Sol just did before Sol, but that's not what happened, right? Sol did it. So I mean, we had this fractal, this Bitcoin fractal, wait, where is it? Yeah, just this like vertical accumulation on Bitcoin into the pump, right? We had this on Sol like weeks ago, right? Up all in this region, and then we got the blow off, right? So I mean, if we go from here, we kind of got the move down. I could see us chop around on Sol basically. But for ETH, we haven't even gotten that blow off yet. And you could say that, one could argue that, this is vertical accumulation. It doesn't quite look as clean as it did on Sol and as it did on Bitcoin. It's a little choppier, but I mean, one could argue, right? One could argue we're about to get that leg up on ETH and then probably chop like we did with Bitcoin. The only question is, right, what is Bitcoin going to do till then? Is Bitcoin going to hold up in this range long enough for ETH to pull that move? I hope so, right? I hope so. One other point, what you were talking about with gas, Max. High gas is bullish when tokens are going up, and that's the problem, is that tokens aren't going up on ETH. Like ETH shitcoins need to go up in order for high gas to be bullish, and they're just not, So that's my take on the gas. But yeah, I mean, I think we kind of saw it, right? We kind of saw like the Sol ETH pair, right? Like we saw this thing down, like I saw it down like 10% in a day. The other, we're down 25%. Like that's a good little pullback on Sol ETH. I don't know. I don't hate the area it's coming into right now either, but I think I would have liked to see more of a move out of ETH USD. Honestly, like I know we breached 2,400, but I just don't. ETH has just been like cucked or whatever for so long. I would hate for this thing to retrace. And I don't think, wait, right here. I don't think you want to see this I don't think you want to see 0.053 again.
Draw diagonal from all those highs, Tucker, starting up to the left. We broke out here, man. I don't think we're getting back below that.
What you mean, like?
No.
Okay.
Even more shallow, like right, the local. Yeah,
trend. Just this.
Yeah. We broke out here on ETH BTC on the lower time frame. Like I don't think we're gonna get below that. So maybe 0.054 gets retested. Or
like, I don't think you can see. I don't think you want to see this get retraced again. No. Like that would be unfortunate.
No, you don't. And I don't think that it will unless there's like a scam wick because the ETF gets approved. In that instance, I think it turns out to be like a big wick and like we look back on the chart and go, oh, that was when the ETF got approved.
Yeah.
What was I just gonna say, man? Can you go back to ETH? I was gonna respond to you. I can't remember what it was. You jumped over here. Oh, you said it would be a shame if this retraced back down. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's been my base case that this does retrace back down. Okay. And that order block, that daily order block right there at 2250, 70, that level is going to hold. But it has been my base case that this does actually give one more pullback before liftoff. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to pull a Tommy and I'm going to do it green and I'm going to show you why that is. All right. I've been following this fractal here on ETH basically since right here. Okay. And it's been following it perfectly. I'll make this a little bit darker so you guys can really see it. But I've been following this fractal here. What color do I want to do? How can you guys see it the best? Red? I mean, you can't miss that, right?
Yeah.
I've been following this fractal meticulously. It's not perfect, right? But it's pretty damn close. All right. So this fractal, to put it into context, it basically comes from right here. All right. It's coming from this region right here. I identified a while ago, this line is January 1st, this vertical line, that given the December tailwind, the December seasonalities that we've been talking about and how it can be a real tailwind for ETH USD and ETH BTC, I think that given that this year has actually traded more comparably to Bitcoin in its halving years or post-halving years rather than pre-halving years, and this time might actually be different. That's what the data is telling us as of right now that it could be. It makes more sense to look at something like this and just kind of assume that the Bitcoin halving has already been priced in largely. And it's probably been influenced by TradFi getting out in front of its skis and whatever. We don't have to talk about all that, but this is where the fractal comes from. So in my opinion, we're probably somewhere around right here. Okay. So ETH just went on to make, ETH just went on to make a new high, just like this right here. We just swept that high. Okay. And then I think as we get into January, that's when things get wild. Okay. So we're going to scroll back over. You can see this red box here. I'm actually going to change the color now. I don't even know why it's red. I don't like the red box. We're just going to make it black. All right. We broke out of this 500 plus day accumulation range right here. We were stuck under 2150. We finally break out. All right. We finally break out. Now I'm going to zoom back in. It's been my base case that we actually do come back down, and maybe we don't come all the way down to 2250. You know, I would actually prefer now for us to stay a little bit higher. So let me make this not so pronounced. I would prefer for us to stay above this level here, which is on ETH USD. I would welcome a pullback to like 2300, but I don't want to see too much deeper than that. But I still think it's somewhat likely that we move on into Q1 and you see something like this. And I think this is, Tucker, the vertical accumulation that hasn't even started yet because we just broke out. I think vertical accumulation only begins after the breakout. So, for example, this black box here, Tucker, is the breakout spot. You don't consider this to be vertical accumulation before the breakout. This is pressing up against resistance. Now we flip it. Now we begin our vertical accumulation. Okay, because why would you have vertical accumulation before the breakout? Vertical accumulation happens after the breakout.
Yeah. So you're saying ETH is like Bitcoin at what, 31K?
Yeah. You're buying a 30K Bitcoin right here, give or take.
Yeah, the only question is, right, is Bitcoin going to be able to chill above 40K long enough for ETH to pull this off?
I don't think that it matters. I think it just has to.
You don't think if Bitcoin nukes to like 37 that ETH is not going to follow?
No, I think it will. I mean more that I think that Bitcoin can be red and ETH can be green.
Yeah.
But I think if Bitcoin nukes to 37, then yeah, you're in for some trouble. But I think it will be obvious pullbacks. Like I think you'll see ETH flush and hold at a very critical level.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I think it's just about not FOMOing in on every stab at the highs, because Tommy said this before we got on stream. They're going to make it really difficult. If you're trading ETH with high leverage here and you're trying to break out trade ETH, it's going to be really painful for you. And it usually always is. So when we're looking at something, let's just assume that this fractal plays out. I mean, there were probably so many people that got way too excited last night at 2,400 to 2,450. Mm-hmm. And they FOMO'd in and then they capitulate on the lower time frames. Now we're probably going to hold here and move up. You want to be heavy spot and you want to just buy. If you have a high time frame thesis or belief in this asset right now, you don't want to be over leveraged here. You want to recognize, okay, the trend is strong. The trend is upward. Whenever we do something like we did here on Christmas and it's just scary and gross and we're like aggressively selling into local lows but still holding structure, that's where you can throw on leverage, you know? So I just think that people are going to continue to get, they're going to continue to get ragdolled by this thing because they're going to trade with too much leverage and they're going to try to get cute with it and they're going to put on too much size. Like the best thing you can do, in my opinion, in a trending market, which I think we are entering right now for ETH, is turn your brain off and have conviction in a 2 or 3 month play, because a lot of people are just going to get smacked around by this thing. But I really think there is a non-zero chance that in Q1 we see ETH up at 4,000. I know it's crazy. But I mean, I'm telling you, I really think there's a chance. Tommy, cut me off. I know you want to cook. I can see
it. I mean, I don't know if I think we're going to 4,000, but I definitely think we're going above 3K. And I know that's not like for ETH, that's not a super far away target, but I'm thinking to myself, the blow off top should probably be a little less than SOL and a little bit more than Bitcoin. you would think, right? Bitcoin blew off, let's think, what, about 33%, 40%. Solana blew off about 50 to 60%. So ETH should probably be somewhere in between that. Just thinking out loud, which would probably be, somewhere in the low to mid 3,000s. That's probably where I'm looking for ETH to go. But if we're going to keep just aggressively chatting and carrying on this risk on period, I do think what Tucker said is a really salient point, right? Like, what is Bitcoin going to do? How long is it going to chop here? If we break the range lows, does that cause altcoins to go ballistic, or do alts bleed with Bitcoin and wait for Bitcoin to show strength again? Because a lot of the funding on altcoins looks, it looks putrid. It looks putrid. So I could see, your scenario, Max, like you said, where we could drop back down to 2250 and Bitcoin drops probably in that scenario back to range lows like 40K before you would hope a rotation back up to the range highs. I also am not sure what the timeline looks like for this ETH pump yet. I think that's probably my biggest question heading into the year. Like, if we rinse within the next 2 days to those levels, I'm definitely bidding. Let me just say that much. How long the pump will last, I'm not sure, because I also think part of it will be influenced by equity markets, right? And equity markets, I think, will likely blow off and complete at least their high locally within the first 2 weeks of January. So I think the window for ETH to blow off is closing, but I do think that it is going to happen.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, here I want to address the first point. You said, like, you think ETH can go to 3,000 or 3,100, something like that, low threes.
Yeah, that would probably be what I'd be looking for, like 32, 3,300.
No one, me included, expected Solana to blow off to $125 in the time frame that it did. I think most people were expecting 75 to 80, and we were talking about that level. Seemed like a very obvious spot for rejection. It lined up with the ETH 2019 to 2020 bull fractal, where it hit that underside retest of the bull market range low, and then rejected. And I remember even saying, like, I think a lot of people are calling for $80 on Sol right now. I feel like 75 is probably the level. They probably front run 80. Everyone's talking about 80, 80, 80. It'll get front run. And meanwhile, we slice through it like warm butter, and things can happen really quick. So I think you make a lot of good points, and I'm trying to almost left curve it as much as possible and say, okay, can crypto pump without legacy indexes pumping? Yes. Okay. We've seen that before. We actually saw it recently. All right. Legacy has been pumping. And I think that's a nice tailwind because it's just one less thing to think about. But I think that these markets are trading independently right now. And what happens if Bitcoin goes back to 41? I would agree with you there. You probably get that dip to 2250 or I don't know where on ETH, and it probably gets sucked right back up. All right. But at the end of the day, there's some very obvious rotations that are happening in crypto right now. Not everything is pumping together. It's going, sector to sector to sector. And I believe you are going to see the Ethereum beach ball underwater effect in Q1, regardless of what everything else is doing. I can't tell you if Sol is going to go to $200 or it's going to go back to $50. I don't know.
It is.
It's going to $200 or
Yeah.
$50. Okay.
Yeah.
I figured, given the size of your Sol bag, that's probably true.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what's going to happen when the Bitcoin spot ETF gets approved. I have no idea how markets are going to react. I hope that everything pumps, but I don't know. But all I can tell you is I'm looking at Ethereum, and I'm really only looking at Ethereum right now. I've been watching it like a hawk for months. And I feel like taking too much into consideration is actually a hindrance in an environment like this. Saying, well, I'm worried about Ethereum because of Atom, or I'm worried about Ethereum because of Bitcoin, or I'm worried about Bitcoin because of Sol ETH. Like, I literally think it's okay. ETH hasn't ripped yet. ETH is going to rip. We have December seasonality. We've got a lot of tailwinds right now. High time frame market structure is intact. I'm not going to get shaken out. I'm trying not to look at too many things because I believe there's going to be too many things that arise that shake me out of a position. So anyways, and that's not to just like dismiss all like the other, contrary views. It's just I have conviction that Q1 is going to be epic for ETH, and I don't really care what happens to anything else right now. I mean, I hope everything else does well, but I don't think it has to. Like, what did ETH do when Sol was ripping? ETH didn't do anything. I think these things can trade completely independently of one another. I really do.
Yeah, I think they probably can. I'm just trying to figure out. I think Sol probably just pulls a Bitcoin and chops between like 120 and like 100, hopefully. I mean, this is like
the way.
Huh?
I went back to your screen, by the way, if you're showing.
Oh, something. Yeah. So like, I'm thinking, like we just pulled that move. We're right here, right? We do something like this, hopefully, or we nuke back to like low 90s, and then, because there should be more volatility, right? So, I could see this, and then this fractal kind of plays like this or whatever. But yeah, I think I don't know. I remember where was it on Sol? Yeah, it was this level. You're right, though. Everybody and their mom was like, it's completely over, like right here.
Yeah, they're all calling for $80, and I said 75 is probably the spot to unload, and it just sliced through the whole thing like warm butter. You know what probably happened there was everybody was still holding spot and just shorted it on perps, and that just fueled the squeeze. They wanted to be delta neutral without selling their spot, and they just everyone got squeezed out of their short hedges right there. Every single one. Yeah, I could see that happening, Tucker.
Something like that.
I could see maybe like a tag at like 90 if things get nasty, but not much more than that, really.
Yeah, because there's a nice FBG right here. Let's see. Yeah, 85. That would be a demon
it's a little deeper. I don't think if it happens, it's going to be a wick. You're not going to catch it unless you got stink bid set. Truthfully.
Yeah, no, for sure. It would literally be boom, boom.
So before we keep talking, I want to address a couple things. There are some really good questions here in the comments. I want to get to some of these. But guys, before we get to some of these questions and some of these comments, I need a favor from you guys. And you know the deal. We got 75 people watching right now. I'm pretty sure just on YouTube we have 75 people watching. There's even more on Twitter. The likes are abysmally low right now. I'll cut everybody some slack because I know they're on holiday breaks. It's Christmas. Everybody's hanging out with family. We're a little bit rusty here in front of the camera. You guys are a little bit rusty on your side, but we got to fix this. We have to fix this. So guys, if you are watching, if you are enjoying the stream, if you are new here or if you are old here, please consider just taking one quick moment, hitting that thumbs up button for us, guys. It really does wonders for the channel. It does wonders for our growth. And the reason that we're growing so quickly is because of you guys. You show up every single day and you support us by liking and commenting and following and subscribing. So please, if you haven't yet, just make sure that you're signed into your YouTube account. Hit that thumbs up button for us. Again, we are so appreciative of the continued support, and we thank you guys for tuning in. And for you guys on Twitter, for the Twitter crew, I'm not done with you guys yet. You guys did not escape unscathed, okay? There are 32 people watching on Twitter, and there are 8 likes. It is so easy to like on Twitter because you are for sure signed in. If you are one of the 32 people watching on Twitter, first of all, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We love that you guys are loving the show. Just take one quick moment and hit that heart button, guys. If you hit that heart button and you like the stream on Twitter, it really helps push the content. And again, we're growing so quickly because you do things like this. You guys show up. We dump alpha on you for 2 hours, and you guys dump likes on us. It's a really great trade-off. It's a win-win-win. And also, maybe hit a retweet for us too. We'd be greatly appreciative of that as well. But yeah, guys, Twitter crew, let's see if we can get to at least 20 likes. Hit the heart button. Let's see if we can get it to 20. YouTube, man, you guys have been around for a long time. There's no excuse. We're at 44 likes. We need to at least get 1-to-1. Let's get at least 70 likes, guys. There's 30 more people watching on YouTube that have not hit the like button yet. So, guys, please smash that like button for us. Again, thank you guys so much. But let's get back to it. Tucker, what are you cooking up here?
Some propaganda, man. I know Lance sees it.
Delete that. Oh, man.
It's just I don't know why. I just pulled up Tia. And I saw ETH, man. I just saw it. It just came to me in a fever dream. I mean, maybe. I mean, that would be.
I don't know if I think we'll drop back down that low.
I mean, that would be your fractal, wouldn't it, Max? Somewhere, what was it, 2250?
I see that order block being protected there at 2260, Tucker. That daily order block. I don't see us breaking that low.
Yeah, it would basically. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, T is obviously much smaller and more volatile. So, I mean,
how many people do you think staked Tia like at $4 to $5 and then it pumped to like 10 and they start unstaking and then it's at 14 when they finally get their money out and then start dumping it? How much of that do you think happened?
Probably a lot. Yeah, probably a lot. I mean, I have a bunch of Tia staked that I'm literally not going to touch for like 12 months, but yeah, there's probably a decent. I mean, it takes 3 weeks to unstake your Tia, so yeah, that's probably a realistic timeline. But yeah. I mean, I think as long as you hold above like 10 or $11, I think Tia still looks good. We haven't talked about it in a while, but I think like as long as you're above like this consolidation here, I think you look decent. You know, if you're just sitting on top of this, as Max would say, mega demand potentially.
Yes, sir.
then I think you look good. Yeah. But I don't know. I just saw it and it looked a little too close to what ETH looked like right there. Just a sweep of the high, you know, holding this kind of floor thing. So
you're too big to be doing that kind of yoga, Tucker. You can't.
Tommy, I know you see it, man.
I see it. I don't know if I subscribe to it.
My man.
I kind of think our pullback will be a bit sharper than that for ETH, but I also think that you want to see the structure look more bullish than what Celestia is painting, or else the ETH blow off. I'm not sure if I'll get on board with it.
Yeah, you might want to see on ETH like just like a quick.
Yeah, something like that. And I honestly, I think we could see it probably within like the next 2 or 3 days. You know, if you see Bitcoin trade down into the range lows again, then I kind of think that's an ideal spot to shove ETH.
See that 12-hour order block right there on Bitcoin, Tucker, at the range low. Yeah. I like that level a lot. Like I want the lows to hold. I want market structure to remain bullish. That level on Bitcoin 41.5-ish. I think that's a great level. Take out the previous low, wick into that order block. Everybody calls for a huge breakdown. ETH barely dips, you know. Yep. My man.
ETH just boom.
Yep.
There you go.
Hey man, we gotta get to some of these comments, man. We're getting some comments today. Thank you guys. We're gonna start with Ozil, man. Ozil, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. $10 from Ozil. Ozil's one of our Giga Chads, and also he's one of our. I'm pretty sure he's like the biggest super chat giver. I don't know if it's tally, but Ozil, man, thank you so much for the support. So he said, let's talk narratives like gaming, AI storage, and all that jazz outside ETFs. Which are you most bullish on, and do you think they rotate? Oh, man, dude, that's like such a Will's outlook question. I'm not like
a lobby question.
Yeah, I wish we had a full panel here because I'm really not the gaming AI narrative kind of guy. I really do better with like higher time frame technical analysis and stuff, but I don't know if I'm super bullish on crypto gaming or just like gaming in general. I just feel like it's talked about so much, and I don't play video games at all. I have not played video games in over a decade probably. My gut is telling me that it seems crowded and it seems like it's a TikTok trend. And I've also heard from people that actually do game that nobody gives a shit at all about like crypto incorporation or tokens in games. Tommy's, you're muted, by the way.
That's bullish.
Is that
We
bullish?
talked about that. That's bullish.
Maybe
we don't want gamers to like crypto games before they pump, right? We want them to like it after they pump.
Okay, so maybe that's bullish. I don't know, but I don't know what the narrative is going to be, man. Like, call it boring, but I truthfully think that the narratives that worked in the last couple cycles will just continue to be recycled and rebranded with new tickers, and they'll work again. We're going to have another DeFi pump, you know, we're going to have another metaverse pump, you know, things that like, what's the trend right now? There's a lot of AR, VR discussions. So I feel like more metaverse, VR kind of shit, that's just going to pump. But honestly, I feel like I can juice my returns just by, you know, looking for, like, in my opinion, obvious plays where I recognize that it's just pair trading, right? Like, I recognize there's a correlation between, I mean, something like Sol and then Whiff, right? Like the new meme coin, like just supercharged beta to obvious plays like Solana, or Pepe to Ethereum, which we're going to get into Pepe, guys. We're going to save that for later in the show. But I don't really know like what the narratives are. The narratives are number go up. So like, what do I think is going to go up? We can talk about that for sure. But yeah, I mean, Wabi would have a lot more to say on these narratives, and probably Will's outlook too.
I think AI is probably the easiest narrative to play. Like, it's most likely to pump really hard. The topic about performance is definitely going to vary from person to person. You know, as far as all those different things go. But I would have to think, you know, gaming and AI would be at the forefront of, you know, what those, or at least, you know, the sectors that are going to outperform above pretty much everything else. Right.
Oh, for sure. I think
that is a Will or Wabi question.
Yeah, big time. I mean, I think gaming got a little too hot, a little too popular too quickly. I think it comes back. Like, I think stuff like I know it's washed up, but I know stuff like Rollbit. I think Rollbit does come back eventually, and people get hyped on it again. But obviously, like the whole, you know, TIA and like Say and like the whole, you know, modular, parallelized EVM, whatever, all that narrative, I think is going to continue to be hot, and stuff coming out. Obviously, like what we talked about, like Saga and Dimension, Monad, and all these other ones, right? All like these like better modular blockchains and L1s, right? Like that are going to be, I don't even think their branding is ETH and Soul Killers, but, you know, I think those narratives are going to be decently hot. But yeah, I mean, I think gaming still plays. I think AI definitely still plays. And I think AI is probably down a little bit right now, or not as hot. I know the DeSci, the decentralized science narrative was pretty hot for a minute there. I think it's probably cooled down a bit, but yeah, I mean, I think we just need time with a lot of these things, right? I think we just need like, you know, Bitcoin to like be in a steady uptrend, which we've seen, right? And for more sideways, but I think really we need ETH to go up, honestly, for a lot of these things to actually move. But
yeah, well, that's a good question. I'm going to bring that back up, Ozil, in the Discord for the afternoon call. We'll have Wabi and we'll talk on that. It's a good question. But we had some other comments here. I want to just go through some of these. So maybe we talk about this, and then I want to go through some of these and then talk about Pepe, because I know it's one that I have been spending a lot of time on lately. Max, you said ETH might outperform Bitcoin by 3x. That would mean it flips it in market cap. You really think that's possible? Anything is possible, but no, I do not think that is likely at all. From this current level, I mean, I think I would expect ETH to outperform Bitcoin by at least 2x. I guess maybe 3x. But let me see, what's the market cap? So ETH's market cap right now is 285. Bitcoin is 830. So 832 divided by 285. Yeah, so if it did outperform it from this level by 3x, you're right, that would pressure the market cap of Bitcoin. I do not think that that's going to happen. Actually, I'd be very concerned if that did happen. So perhaps just a 2x from this level, and we maybe see ETH BTC valuation at 0.10. But I do think that it's going to outperform. I think that ETH will outperform Bitcoin next cycle, just like it's been consistently doing. But I definitely do not think it's going to flip Bitcoin, and I'd be very concerned for the entire asset class if that did happen. I do not want to see Bitcoin lose that top spot. Even if it would be good for my bags, I do not think that would be a good thing at all. Not even for a second. So I will amend what I said. I think it will outperform Bitcoin by at least 2x and, maybe a little bit more, but I don't. Yeah, beyond that, eventually, I suppose it'll just turn into an oscillator. I hope that Ethereum does not flip Bitcoin. That wouldn't be good. All right, let's see if we got some other questions, comments. There's a lot of good stuff here. Here's one from Will. Tommy, I'd love to get some thoughts from you, man. This is from Will. Tommy, can you go over funding and all that quant stuff?
I mean, yeah, I'll talk about funding for sure. It's very, very hot, right? I mean, typically, and for those who don't know, funding represents the difference between the spot price on a given exchange versus the futures price, right? So when you have these big divergences between funding and the index price of spot on these exchanges, what it typically represents is that one side is a little bit overzealous as far as their positioning goes. And you look at funding rates across the board. You look at them on Bitcoin, on ETH, especially on Solana. The funding right now is much higher than the spot prices on all major exchanges: Bybit, Binance, OKX. What that means is that there are a lot of people long. There's a lot of froth in the market. People have been saying that for weeks, right? But we can very clearly visualize it with funding rates right now. It's hard to be able to go up dramatically when you have funding rates like this, because it's kind of representative that most of the market's already long or expecting higher prices and needing that price appreciation. Because the other aspect about funding is, if you have to pay to be long, eventually you're going to have a point where you're not going to be comfortable paying to be long if price is going sideways or price is going lower, because it's going to bring your liquidation price closer, and also it can get really expensive to hold a position open for that long, right? And I think that's something to consider as well. But with these funding rates, we are hot, like I said, especially on the Bybit exchange. When Bybit is the exchange that has, I think, the extreme funding more so than other exchanges, that's typically a sign of caution. So, I do think the positioning at this point probably favors a move lower before higher, right? If you're looking to take a long on something like ETH, and then if ETH is going to run aggressively and see that blow off top, I bet there are a ton of other altcoins that are going to see very similar moves in the process, right? Like some of these other altcoins that have been leading over the last week. I think about Say will probably have a huge move whenever ETH runs. Like I think Atom ETH looks great too. Atom could see a big move when ETH does. But a lot of these assets also have funding that's pretty hot, and markets can still send higher on high funding. It's important to note, but in the immediate term, it probably has me favoring a little bit of a rinse from Bitcoin, especially given the Bitcoin funding itself, because I do think that you definitely have a bit of overzealous positioning into the ETF. But one last thing I'll add is that I think the option skew for January 10th is especially interesting. Like there's a huge divergence in the implied volatility around that date. So I would be looking to that date for probably, maybe you run up into it, run up a little bit after, and then dump after. That could be the type of scenario that I could see just based on the positioning of derivatives right now. But we could see a dump before that run up. I hope that made sense. But
wait, what date, Tommy?
January 10th. There's a huge shift in the implied volatility skew. So I could see us running up into that date, pumping maybe like a day or two after, or maybe like a few days after, and then dumping after that.
Isn't that the ETF approval date potentially?
Yep. And there's a ton of people positioned for it in the options market, which has this year it's really led the market ahead of time. Options positioning, that's kind of a new feature for crypto this year that we're not really used to seeing. That options have really played a bigger and bigger role on these rotations that we see on an intra-week and intra-month basis. But there's a lot of options open interest around that date. So I am looking for probably a pump into it. And then after that, I think it's probably time to be cautious.
Tommy, are you seeing obvious signals that the market is maybe a little too aggressively long going into this binary event?
I think so. Yeah. And I saw somebody bring up a really good point about it. I don't know if I can explain it as well as they did, but everybody kind of viewed it initially as a sell the news event, right? But you look at the way that people are positioned for the ETF heading in, and it's clearly reflecting that people are not shorting as a sell the news event. People are longing, expecting ETF approval to send price higher, which very well might happen, right? When we get the announcement, you get the perps chasing. But I think the follow through on that pump is now a lot more questionable than it was, when this was viewed as a very clear sell the news event. I think everybody right now is viewing it as we're going to get the ETF and then we're going to have a ton of people start buying. I'm in a position before that. But if everybody's thinking that, then everybody's already long. So I think that's something to consider as well as we get closer to that date.
Yeah, that's
because we're long. Natives are long. Let me rephrase. Natives are long, but I don't know that TradFi itself is long. That might be a longer term play, and ultimately, right, what creates our bull cycle is TradFi buying in.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, do you not see them like getting exposure solely through miners for now until we get an ETF? Miners have been absolutely sent.
Wow. They're clearly doing that. They're just Googling every Bitcoin miner and just shoving.
Yeah.
If that's a precursor for what's to come when the spot ETF is actually approved, you'll probably see miners sell off aggressively and then rotate that money and capital into the spot ETF.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we are really trading in uncharted territory right now. Not like price discovery, but I mean, this is truly this has never happened before for Bitcoin. We've never been less than 2 weeks out from a spot ETF approval with, a brand new emerging asset or asset class, which crypto still is, even though it maybe doesn't feel like it to a lot of us, being on the brink of institutional adoption that was led by retail. I mean, this is such a bizarre, strange time. I wouldn't have it any other way, but there's just no way to know what's going to happen. I could literally see Bitcoin going to 100K in Q1, and I could also see it chilling, doing nothing, and retesting 30K. I have no idea how much of this is already priced in. I have no idea. And one other bearish thing to consider, we have talked about this, just to be fair about it, is that just because there's a vehicle to invest in and to take that money doesn't mean that there's going to be immediate demand for it. I hope that there is, but just because there's an ETF that allows people to get exposure to Bitcoin doesn't mean there's going to be $10 trillion of liquidity that instantly flows into Bitcoin. Maybe, right. But no. I mean, it's going to be it's like anything. It's going to be very situationally and conditionally dependent. People will buy Bitcoin when they feel it makes sense to own something like Bitcoin. They won't buy it just because now they can. Because guess what? If they really wanted to own Bitcoin that badly, they could have figured out a way to do it over the past decade. Okay.
You don't think the convenience will change things?
I think it will change things. I'm just trying to be fair.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be fair that this is a scenario that I think could happen. And what I don't like to see is a lot of these Bitcoin maxis going on Twitter saying, oh, here's some back of the napkin math. This will open the door to $30 trillion of liquidity. If you add 30 trillion onto the market cap of Bitcoin, and I'm like, you have no fucking clue what you're talking about at all. it's amazing that you have a following. You literally do not know what you're talking about. You don't even understand trading. Okay. So I don't like seeing stuff like that because, I mean, it kind of feels like they're leading the sheep to the sheep to slaughter. But, you know, I think there can be a happy medium where we should pump off of this news. My hope is that there's an economic storm or a perfect storm brewing where investors cannot wait to own Bitcoin rather than gold. And Bitcoin gets to shine as the first digital commodity during a potential multi-year recession and, you know, sometime this decade. So, you know, my hope is that as gold is pushing up against all-time highs, Bitcoin does something similar. And now there's an institutional vehicle that allows investors to make that choice. Do I want to own gold or do I want to own Bitcoin? That's my hope.
Yeah.
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 Let's all just
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh.
Whoa. You got to turn it off, log, if you want to use the
Oh
current.
no.
Tucker,
Oh,
turn
no.
that off. Turn that off. Turn that off.
They don't want to see the sniper, baby.
We're going to ignore that. Turn that off. Turn that off.
Yeah, I mean, and we already looked at like what the GLD ETF did. I don't even know if it's a good comparison because there's clearly more like native demand for gold than Bitcoin from TradFi, right? Even still, I mean, obviously back then, but even still, right? I don't know.
Let's talk about Pepe, boys. It's time. It's time. It's time, guys. Who wants to talk about Pepe?
I know
I'll
you
let
got
you
some
talk about that,
fractals.
Pepe. You're more bullish on it than I am at the moment, but I'm sure it would run if ETH did. I'm wondering if this is going to be the blow off Pepe top, but what you also see with these meme coins is that a few months before the blow off top, you get some sort of like, you get a 2 or 3x pump that almost unpins it from the range. And then you get a big rip above it. It comes back and retests it. And after that consolidation, that's when you just send parabolically. It's exactly what Doge did. You know, it had that big move. It consolidated above most of the range, and then it rips.
So let's talk about this. I tweeted this out earlier, so some of you may have already seen this. I find this to be quite interesting. I find it to be very, very interesting, the timing of all of this. We talk about December seasonality and December tailwinds for Ethereum, but it's interesting that something like Doge back in 2020 was sitting at a 600 million market cap after printing the price action that it did before it basically pulled a 20,000% move in 125 days. All right. Now, fast forward, Ethereum is breaking out of its 500-day reaccumulation range. Pepe, which hit $1.5 billion earlier in the year, back in May, has since sold off and is printing a very, very comparable fractal to the Doge fractal on the right. It's also sitting at a 600 million market cap in December, right as Ethereum. Which again, Pepe is built on Ethereum. It's an ERC20 token. It's sitting at a 600 million market cap in December of 2023, right as we are anticipating ETH vertical accumulation and vertical ascent. I find it interesting, don't you guys?
It is interesting, Max. It is indeed interesting. I like all your colorful drawings there.
I try to make it like as clear as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really, there's no room for a debate here, man. It's like the colors are the colors.
Well, what didn't we see? Isn't that when like Elon adopted Doge and SNL and all that? Was that 2021?
Could have happened. I'm not really sure when Elon tweeted.
I'm gonna need Elon to tweet out some frog pics and something like that to go down. But yeah, I mean, I see the fractal. I definitely, and I own Pepe, so this would be absolutely lovely. But
we all need that one theory that you can just be like a cult follower of, man.
you know what we need Pepe on Robinhood. That is what we need.
That would send it, man.
Mm-hmm.
But see, that's gonna happen. That's not gonna happen here, man. Pepe's gonna break out first, like Tommy was talking about, and then they're gonna list it like right here. All right.
Yeah.
This is where they, something like this. This is where it will get listed on a new exchange or something. It'll be it'll probably be Robinhood.
We need Robinhood, man. Yeah, we need Robinhood for sure.
That's a good point.
Because that's what sent Doge, dude. Everybody was just on Robinhood, just aping Doge.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And that was literally everybody got a stimmy and then immediately bought Doge. That's what happened.
They'll list Pepe when it's like hanging out at 2 or 3 billion,
Mm-hmm.
That's when they'll do it. And then they'll take it up 10x from there. So I don't know. I mean, look, there's a million reasons and a million logical reasons to point out why something like this won't happen. I think worst case scenario, you shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you land amongst the stars. Okay. The base case for this is that Pepe has been trading like a 3 to 5 times leveraged Ethereum ETF. All year I've been tracking this thing, literally all year. For those that are in the Because Bitcoin Discord, you know that nobody appreciates the frog like me. You know it. I've been trading it all year. I'm a frog appreciator. All right. When ETH pumps 3, 4, 5%, Pepe is consistently up double-digit percentages. When ETH dumps, same thing to the downside. It is true beta to Ethereum. And it has been a positively correlated asset pair all year long since the top in May. All year long. So I look at this and I say, ETH is breaking out. Is this fractal going to happen? I mean, guys, the stars have to align perfectly, right? You need every possible tailwind. You need all of the stars to align. You need celebrities hopping on board. You need somebody to fill that poly role. That's not going to freak out and, end up turning on the project. You need an Elon type of figure, but it's not going to be Elon, right? We need a figure. Okay. There needs to be a face of Pepe. There needs to be a rally the troops, rah kind of guy. I don't know who that's going to be. You're going to need the Robinhood listing like Tucker was talking about. You might even need Coinbase. Okay. I have no idea if this is going to happen or not, but I recognize that at a minimum, there's a positive correlation to Ethereum, and all year it's been respecting it. So if ETH goes to 3,000 or 4,000, I think Pepe could certainly at a minimum double from here, maybe even a little bit more. So even if it doesn't pull a Doge here, I still certainly think it's going to run just because it's correlated to Ethereum. So I don't view it as that inherently risky. If we're looking at this thing objectively and saying, okay, let's not be moon boys about it, which, look, maybe the fractal happens, maybe it doesn't. Let's look at Pepe ETH. All right. So worst case scenario, in my opinion, this is the pair you should be focusing on, is Pepe against ETH. If you're holding Pepe and it doesn't pull a Doge, do you lose ETH or do you gain ETH? We just want to make sure that we're not losing ETH. That's it. Why is this not loading? Whatever. All you want to make sure of is that this pair doesn't go down. As long as this pair ranges here or hopefully goes up, then there's no harm in holding Pepe. If you start to see this pair, which is Pepe ETH, back down here, then it's been a bad trade. Then you're losing ETH. The goal of this, just like any ETH beta or Sol beta or whatever, is to increase the denominated holdings of sort of the mother chain, right? Why are we trading WIF? Does anybody care about WIF? No one gives a damn about WIF. You're just looking
now. Hey, the dog.
Come on now, Max.
The dog has a hat.
Couple people might like it. The dog has a hat. You're right. But you know what I mean, right? There's no emotional attachment to some of this stuff. I mean, maybe somebody out there, but you're looking to chase beta. You're chasing returns. Why would I hold Pepe? I mean, I think it's a funny meme. That's cool. I want it to pump. Like I want to own more ETH. I want to sell my Pepe back at a multi-billion-dollar market cap and hold more Ethereum. That's it. It's that simple. So yeah, I mean, look, maybe the Moonboy fractal doesn't play out. Maybe it does. I don't know. I mean, I hope that this happens, right? This would be epic. This would be so much fun. But worst case scenario, in my opinion, we probably see something like this. We'll probably see something like this. And you'll at least see Pepe do something like this. All right. And at this point, from this level, let's just say it's somewhere around here, you could outperform ETH by 100 or 150%. So in my opinion, I don't really deem holding Pepe as a huge risk because I'm just looking for outperformance against ETH. And if all of the stars align just right and it happens perfectly and we get so lucky, then perhaps something like this can happen. And it's not impossible. It's not very likely, but it's not impossible. And again, just to reiterate, at the end of the day, you just want to keep an eye on Pepe ETH. Is it going to bleed? We just want this level to hold. We want this deviation right here. We don't want this red box to be deeply penetrated ever again. We want maybe, I would allow a little wick, maybe. But we don't want to see that. We want to see up. And as long as that happens, there's not a risk to holding it. It's a good RR.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, yeah, this will be. I mean, we saw Pepe rip earlier in the year. Obviously, this will kind of be the first test of it post, on-chain pump. If it really does act as beta, because obviously it acted as beta in April, May, June, even, but
it's been acting as beta recently, dude.
Has
if you look at all, if you look at all the pumps, I mean, you can see that it's been trading like beta. Like here, let me see if I can.
I mean, Pepe ETH is down right now, right?
So here. All right, what's the best way to show this? Actually, it would just be. I mean, this doesn't I've been watching it really closely, but I think it's good to show this. But I mean, if we're looking at this, let's throw up ETH side by side with it. Look at the 1 day. So here's ETH, and let's look at some of these moves here. So here's the low. Let's start right here. Let's look at, I don't know these off the top of my head, but let's look at this move right here on ETH. So this move went up 20% on ETH. Let's see what it went up on Pepe from right here to right here. This one went up 40%. So when ETH pumps 20%, Pepe pumps 40%. And then we look at the drawdown. Pepe dumps. Here, I'll change this to green just so we can keep it organized. And guys, this is just showing the relationship between Pepe and ETH. So here's a perfect example. Pepe on the left, ETH on the right. Pepe up 45%, ETH up 20%. ETH pulls back 11%, Pepe dumps 30%. Now let's look at the same pump. We'll just go from the Pico lows here. Kind of overlapping, right? But I want to show the whole move. From this low to here. So then ETH rallies. ETH is on the right here. ETH rallies 26%. Pepe rallies 71%. So it's been trading like beta. It hasn't gone parabolic since the top in May, but the relationship is still there, clearly. So if we think that ETH is about to rip, and all year you can see it's been trading just like it should.
Yeah, Pepe does look good too. It's kind of zoomed out. It just looks.
I'm gonna pull up your chart now.
It looks good. I mean, just nothing on it, just raw chart. Is
that a inverse head and shoulders there? Or
yeah, you could even say that kind of. Let's make it. Yeah.
Oh, the Pupanacci lines. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. No, but it let's see. Let's get rid of this. Back to the daily. I think
2004 Honda Civic, champ. Stay humble. Stay grounded.
let's see. Yeah. Yeah, there it is. You know what I'm saying? Deviation, bruv. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, dude, you break out above that 1873 level on Pepe, 0.0001873. Forget about it, man. You're gonna 2x the previous all-time high. See you at 3 billion.
Yeah, let me grab that. Yeah.
I'm just saying it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Like Tommy was talking about earlier, ETH is gonna be a bumpy ride. If you think that ETH is gonna be a bumpy ride, oh my gosh, strap in for Pepe, you know? But if you can hold through it and something like this happens, could be one of those things, guys.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just kind of doing this like this little stair step, which I kind of like to see, honestly, right? Just like
That
here's an
dark.
area, here's an area, you know, we want to see this. And then and this will end up being, you know, the vertical accumulation before you just send, probably.
Yeah, some sort of move to unpin it, and then some consolidation. And, you know, maybe we get the initial move on Pepe over the next like 2 weeks, and then the market cools off for, you know, 1 or 2 months, and then Pepe starts to really move aggressively out of that. I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to happen until people get frothy with ETH. ETH's going to have to be at 26, 27, 2,800. And then people are just going to go nuts on chain. And then you probably want to buy some uni as well. Just own a bag of that.
Uniswap, Max?
No.
Or sushi.
No.
You hungry for some sushi, Tommy?
I'd rather own sushi than Uniswap.
For sure.
Why?
Because the chart looks better.
Bro, who's like, oh man, I'm gonna go over to Sushi Swap and swap for my favorite token? No one does that.
Hey man, Sushi Swap is what you use on, or at least what I've been using on base for my Sushi.
Okay, that's fair. So they have one user. His name is Snorlax.
No, sushi is nice, Max.
Is it? I've always just done Uniswap.
I know, but I think they like destroyed their tokenomics somehow recently. I don't exactly remember what they did, but like, let's just. Oh wait, this is uni. Let's put it next to sushi.
The already pump door.
Where really zoom out. Wow.
Oh gosh, what is that?
Don't worry about that. Just look at this.
Don't worry about that.
Just look at this, Max. It's called deviation, bruv.
That actually is textbook deviation, bro.
For sure. What do you think comes next? One of those.
So $27.
I mean, all-time highs. For sure.
I don't know about that one, but
okay, so why not? So why not spend $13,000 on 1,000 sushi swap tokens and just forget about them? If it's going to all-time high, just buy 1,000 of them. 100 exit goes to $100.
I don't know about $100.
sushi's not going to all-time high.
I thought you guys were bullish. You guys were so excited just a minute ago.
There's a 10x for you. There you go.
It does look bullish though, man. We've been talking about this this token coming out of that deviation for a while, how it looks like Rune. I still think they're gonna gig us in sushi, man.
Yeah. Deviation, bruv. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, it does look like Rune. That's pretty funny. A little PO3. Doesn't quite look like Link though, but I mean, I could definitely see these. $4. What is that? Little 3.5x.
I was thinking about this. So I was looking at AAVE the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking, all right, if ETH is going to run, ETH DeFi is going to run. What is the incentive for people to actually hold tokens like AAVE and Sushi? And I don't know. I mean, I know Sushi isn't like ETH DeFi, but I just mean some of these like protocol tokens. What are the real incentives? I looked into like holding AAVE and I was like, why would I even hold that? Like, it's a governance token. What do I care?
What about
What's the
Wi-Fi, Max?
Yeah, I mean, I like some of the technical setups. I'm just like, why would you even hold them? Like, who's gonna like pile into these things? Who puts their money in AAVE and is like, oh, I want to buy like $1 million of AAVE as well? Why would you do that?
Speculators.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, it's just speculators. Like, and I can't really formulate a good narrative around why I would do something like that.
Well, I mean, who's gonna pump Pepe? Speculators. Like,
No, a bunch of crypto freaks, and we're all going to pile into it, man. It's crypto. The stuff in crypto that's going to pump is the stuff that's just left curve and can get the masses behind it because it's so easy and fun to understand. What am I supposed to do? Go on TikTok and be like, AAVE. It's so fun and amazing. It's ETH. It's a decentralized ETH lending protocol. You can borrow against your ETH. They're going to be like, I have $300. You want me to borrow against my $300 in ETH? No, they're going to go buy Pepe. They want the 1000x.
And you have to pay $100 in gas.
Yes.
to do it.
Yes. It's just, I
No,
can't
I
make
really
a narrative for some of this.
I actually agree with you, Max. I am not that bullish on DeFi 1.0 tokens for ETH. They need new DeFi tokens on ETH. So I think pumps are probably going to be limited to, like one-off type of moves and then another huge consolidation period. But, I mean, I think some of these tokens look like they can pump. It's just a matter of, it's one of those things, we've talked about this before, like a lot of charts will look capable of pumping and then they won't because there's just not going to be any attention or interest on them from the market as a whole. So whichever moves first is probably going to take the attention. And we saw even with Link, right? Like it painted a breakout from a multi-year consolidation. It was still only able to pump probably like 100%, 150% from that, which was great. But, I know a lot of people probably expected a lot more from Link, which if ETH is going to go higher, then Link will probably go higher. So what am I saying? Maybe it goes up to like the low 20s or something like that.
Wait, why does Link need a token? Can someone tell me?
Because it goes up, Max. That's
okay. Sounds good. No, I thought it did something. I thought it must do something. It's up so much, right? Like there must be.
Why does Uni need a token?
These are all great questions, right? Why does Pepe need a token? At least Pepe's fun. All right. At least Pepe's fun.
Link is fun.
About oracles, man.
Link is fun, Max.
Link is the most boring thing ever, man.
Link
and the founder dumped on you.
Link is amazing for Sergey. I'm sure he has a blast trading.
Oh,
Link.
he does.
He's the perpetual sell wall, man. It's over.
I mean, we blasted through that sell wall, brother. We blasted right through it.
I just don't know why it needs a token. I literally ask everyone. I'm like, why do you need a token? Why do they need a token? I'm actually asking. I don't know.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But it's provocative.
That was great.
It does need a token?
The
like button. That way a lot of you guys could bid it up.
Yes. Tommy. Oh, whoa, Tucker, look at my screen. Look at my screen.
I see it. How'd you do that?
I did a thumbs up and it.
How'd you do that?
I don't know. It like.
Whoa, look at me. Do you see that?
Dude, who saw that?
Are you seeing what's happening?
Yeah, why is it making you dark?
Whoa.
Hang on.
I can't fade into the abyss. What the heck?
Oh, look at my screen.
What is going on?
How did
Bro.
No, you guys are messing with me.
No, I
You're,
just
you're seeing this, right, Tommy?
Why does
No,
everybody
Tommy,
get the
I
cool
swear to God, I
stuff?
don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I did a thumbs up and it like
Look,
the
it's
fireworks are
doing it.
behind you.
It's behind me, yeah.
How did you do that? I look like an idiot because I can't get anything to come up on my screen.
I don't know, man. StreamYard is crazy. Tell you what.
Wow. Okay. Well, guys, I think we should call it here. Guys, I think we should call it here. We've been going for an hour 20. I got to save some alpha for tomorrow. For Friday's stream, guys, listen, here's the deal, guys. If you haven't yet, please consider liking the stream. And I know there's some of you that haven't liked it yet because we don't have as many likes as we have people watching. So, guys, please do us that solid. Hit that thumbs up button for us. Furthermore, if you are new here, this is Market Check brought to you by Because Bitcoin. We are live Monday through Friday, holidays aside, at 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time with Tucker, Snorlax, myself, Jackus, and Will's Outlook. It's just the three of us today, but the other guys will be back very, very soon. So if you're new here and you enjoyed the stream, maybe you're on Twitter watching, maybe you're here on YouTube, hit that follow or hit that subscribe button, guys, so you can be made aware of when we go live. And again, we are Market Check brought to you by Because Bitcoin, live 5 days a week. It's a daily show. It's basically an hour and a half to 2 hour long alpha dump. We just come on here, talk charts, talk price, talk narratives, have some fun, talk a little bit of trash, but it's all for the love of the asset class and the love of showing up and doing this every single day with you guys. So yeah, please like, please subscribe. Now, guys, if you check out the first link in the description below, if you are on YouTube, if you're not on YouTube, Twitter, it's becausebitcoin.com/premium. That will take you to our website where you can sign up for our premium services. Right now, it's really just a Discord. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's a kick-ass Discord. We've got the entire Because Bitcoin team in there. We have active positions channels, and we do upwards of 2 hours a day, 2 hours every single day of private live streams. So if you really enjoyed this watching on Twitter or YouTube, you will absolutely love the Discord, guys. You get to talk with us, ask questions. We share our positioning. We share a lot more intimate thoughts and analysis, things that we don't talk about here on YouTube. So definitely consider checking that out. You can sign up right now. It is $149.99 per month. Now, here's the good news. The good news is you can get in for $149.99 per month right now. The bad news is if you decide not to do that right now, the price is going to go up a lot next year because we are launching something brand new called the BB Terminal. The BB Terminal is a state-of-the-art product brought to you by Because Bitcoin. It's going to be market data, a lot of syndication from all your favorite sources. You're actually going to be able to trade through it. It's basically like a Bloomberg terminal, but for crypto guys. And it's the best of everything that you love right now. That will be included with your Discord membership. So if you want to get in right now and be not only early to beta test it, but be grandfathered into the $149.99 per month price forever, as long as you don't cancel your membership, you can do that right now. So again, I would highly encourage people, as that product is dropping early next year, to sign up and get involved right now rather than later, because you're going to want to use the product and you're going to be like, oh, it's so expensive. Why did I not get grandfathered in? Why did I not jump on that? Well, now you have the chance. You've got a little bit of time before the product drops to sign up for $149.99 per month. You're going to want to use this product. And also the Discord is awesome. It's really, really awesome. There is not a group out there that works harder than us here at Because Bitcoin. And again, if you want to see how we're actually positioning in the markets, we have active positions channels. We do 2 private calls every single day with the entire team and community. It's a really fantastic experience. And again, BB Terminal dropping very soon. You can follow us on Twitter. It's now a new affiliate account of ours, BB Terminal or BB_terminal. You'll see the badge. You can find it there for updates. And also, we're going to be dropping a link soon where you can sign up to perhaps be chosen to beta test BB Terminal before the public gets access to it. So definitely follow that account. Actually, let me see if I can share it. I just got the affiliate account. set up this morning. It looks pretty nice. Yeah, it looks.
I got you, Max. I got you.
Got it. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, check out this this Twitter account, guys, because we haven't put the link out yet. We got Ed working on it right now. Yeah, it looks like it's in the comments there. If you want to perhaps be picked to help beta test early on, guys, that's the account you're going to want to follow there. We'll be dropping some links soon. People are starting to find the profile. I think Wabi tweeted about it, so some people are starting to find it. But yeah, it's coming out early Q1, guys, or not early Q1, first half of the year, probably more like middle to end of Q1. But yeah, get grandfathered in while you can, guys. It's going to be paired perfectly with the Discord. So hope you guys will give that a try. But yeah, all right, Tommy, I'm going to kick it over to you, man, to send us off and give us a final farewell.
All right, guys. Yeah, great show. It was great to be back on stream once again with you guys today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and listening. We do have a market talk this afternoon, guys. I know Wabi's looking forward to getting back and talking markets with y'all, and yeah, we'll be looking forward to listening as well. Sorry, I'm a little rusty on my outros, guys. It's been a few days, but yeah, no, we appreciate you guys so much for being here. I hope that you guys bring your liking game a little bit stronger tomorrow, and then I'll give you a pass for the rest of the week. But next week, the new year, I'm absolutely expecting you guys to bring your A game, because we absolutely will be too. And it looks like Ethereum might finally be bringing its A game too here pretty soon. So that'll be something that we can look forward to at the start of January, and you know, however long that can sustain, we'll see. But was great to be back, guys. We will be back again tomorrow. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks.